Well, good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to you. It's great to see that there are, folk from all different kinds of places, and you're all very welcome, whether you're from Croydon or Holland or wherever. So if you haven't been to a soul space before, there's nothing really much to know. You just need to sit back and hopefully enjoy. And there'll be a moment, as Peter said a bit later on, when if you've got a candle, I'll invite you to join me in doing that. I'll be lighting an electronic one. And also we will be essentially making a toast later on toward the end of our time together. So if you've got something to drink and maybe, a cracker or some bread or something as well, that would be great. So the thing is that, history is a funny thing, isn't it? The history of communities, of nations, of the world as a whole tends to be constructed by experts, historians, into a kind of organized whole. Recorded memories and archived information from all kinds of sources become a unified story, so that history feels, for many of us, a bit like a movie, really, or a great literary volume with a beginning, middle, and end. This happened, and then this led to that, and to that, and to that, and so on, right down to where we are today. In reality, of course, history never happened, doesn't happen like that. History is much less a systematized narrative, more of a collage, really, or montage of oftentimes disparate events, circumstances, encounters, interrelated with each other without necessarily being a cohesive whole. And preparing and conducting countless funerals over the years has taught me that individual life is pretty much the same as that. Not so much a narrative starting here and finishing there, more of a montage, an assortment of many parts, some that seem to fit together seamlessly, others which may appear mismatched, even clashing, fragile fragments of thought, experience, relationships, and circumstance that are configured in different ways by different memories in different people. And funerals tend to bring together many of the pieces of a person's life in a way that no other event does, in the form of different people who maybe have seldom, if ever, met each other or been in the same room. And yet each was a part of this picture, part of the collage of the deceased person's life. I've been thinking about that quite a bit with all the stuff that we've been exposed to about Queen Elizabeth, and so many, different programs and different films, which have given very different aspects to this person's life. We have a dominant image of her over the years as the Queen standing on the balcony, or, throwing, or at least triggering champagne against the side of a ship, or opening some curtains on a plaque or something. But what we've seen so much of over these last few days, so much of, are pictures of her as a young girl, as a child, as a mother, of their holidays in Balmoral, and, all these different pictures. And this, I think, is how it is. And of course, so many of those pieces don't even meet together. And that's how it is with all of our lives. And so that's really what we're thinking a bit about this evening, this collage of our lives, and how we have some part to play in that. Some of the pieces are just introduced into our life without us having any say in the matter. But there's a lot of this picture which we have the opportunity to make choices about, and to add certain things and leave certain things out.
Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days. I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light. I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me. Days I remember all my life. Days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. I wish today could be tomorrow. The night is long, it just brings sorrow, let it wait. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days. I won't forget a single day, believe me. Days I remember all my life. Days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. Days, thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days. I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that shines on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me.
Oh, what a fabulous song. And well, what does a life consist of? That's a very fundamental level. Of life consists of days, sacred days, though we seldom recognize their sanctity while we're living them. It's looking back as people are looking back on pictures like these. Who was Mary Wall O'Driscoll, you ask? Well, I can tell you that I've no idea. And yet somehow I'm very moved by looking at all those snapshots of her life. Her family put this together and beautifully accompanied it with Kirsty MacColl's rendering of the Kinks song, Thank You for the Days. And it was there on the internet, and so I decided to use it. For us, Mary Wall O'Driscoll is an every person, if you will, someone. But for her loved ones, Mary was an utterly unique and precious part of the greater montage of their lives. There'll never be another Mary Wall O'Driscoll, never be another collage of human life and experience like hers. And I wouldn't be surprised if just looking at that family album brings thoughts to you of people that you've lost along the way. So let's just pause for a moment. And if you've got a candle handy, I invite you to light a candle for loved ones whose physical presence has left the collage of your life and yet still remains there, woven in through love. And if, of course, you'd like to light it for Queen Elizabeth and her family, well, feel free to do that as well. But just take a moment of pause, of gratitude for the various parts of your life, some present, some sadly now absent. They are not apart from us, but a part of us. For love is eternal, and those we love shall be with us throughout all eternity. So how about you? How do you see your own life when you look into the metaphorical mirror? Are you happy with what you see? Disappointed? Content? Befuddled? See what I did there? How do you feel? I've known many people that I've counseled over the years who have admitted to find it very difficult to look in a mirror at all, which I always find so sad. Whether it's looking into a literal or a metaphorical mirror, it's a challenging thing for many of us. And I think that we're allowed to feel all of those things: happy, sad, confused, disappointed, because our lives are complex. We have many parts, some of which we feel happier about than others. None of them is perfect, not supposed to be. We're human. And yet, as the song says, it's through the cracks that the light gets in. There is, as I say, something quite moving about looking at snapshots. And I'm sad really that it's all electronic now, because actually I really like thumbing my way through a family album. And there is something moving because they are snapshots. You're just peering into a little tiny spot of a person's life. And even these pictures from our album move me because they take me back to different times, different feelings, different experiences along the way. So how do we build a life? Well, as I say, we build it with days, day by day, joyful days, sad days, satisfying days, puzzling days, sunny days, cloudy days, totally ordinary days. Each and every one sacred, a sacred day. One key to building a life, I think, is learning to navigate the ambiguities that life throws up. And that's part of what life is, a process of finding our way through contradictory circumstances. And I think it's as we navigate those ambiguities that we can find that in the end, all of life is wonderful, but in different ways. But it's the ambiguities, I think, that can sometimes throw us off. And I think it's one of the skills in life that we have to acquire, is to learn to cope with those different things that are pulling in this direction and that, things that don't necessarily appear to fit together very well.
It takes a crane to build a crane. It takes 2 floors to make a story. It takes an egg to make a hen. It takes a hen to make an egg. There is no end to what I'm saying. It takes a thought to make a word, and it takes some words to make an action. And it takes some work to make it work. It takes some good to make it hurt. It takes some bad for satisfaction. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la, life goes full circle. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la. It takes a night to make it dawn, and it takes a day to make you yawn, brother. And it takes some old to make you young. It takes some cold to know the sun. It takes the one to have the other. And it takes no time to fall in love, but it takes you years to know what love is. And it takes some fears to make you trust. It takes those tears to make it rust. It takes the dust to have it polished, yeah. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la, life goes full circle. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la la la. Some silence to make sound, and it takes a loss before you found it. And it takes a road to go nowhere. It takes a toll to make you care. It takes a hole to make a mountain. La 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 la, life is wonderful. La 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 la, life full circle. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la, life is meaningful. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la. It is so
It's a lovely song by Jason Mraz, if you were wondering. One of the things that we have to negotiate our way through in life is the whole thing of regrets. You know, that's one of the ambiguities. And I have an ambivalent relationship with regret, because I think that I have seen the caustic, toxic impact of regret on people's lives. I've felt it myself. And yet, how devastatingly awful it would be if we didn't experience regret, if we couldn't see that we took a wrong turn, that we said the wrong thing, that we made a wrong move that had consequences for ourselves and other people. I think it's part of maturing and evolving in life that we learn to be in touch with regret. And yet I think that when regret hangs over us, when we drag it round like a great burden behind us, it can have such a devastating effect. And so I guess one of my hopes and ambitions is to get somewhere toward the end of this journey that I'm on, having worked through that ambiguity of regret. And well, this is someone who wrote a really important book on regret, and well, I'll let her tell you about it herself.
Are you afraid of reaching your deathbed and regretting the choices that you made or didn't make? I'm Bronnie Ware, and for several years I sat by the bedsides of dying people. The conversations shared were personal, life-changing and enormously insightful. I share those conversations more in detail in my memoir, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, because those conversations changed my life, and they may do for you too. The dying people told me, I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life other people expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. And I wish I'd allowed myself to be happier. What if we could all arrive on our deathbed free of regrets? What if we could lose the harsh judgment that causes regret and turn it into compassion for our humanness instead? What if we could set others free by not judging them and seeing them as doing the best they can as who they are right now, just as we are too? What if we all decided to be happier, to focus on simplicity and connection and things that make our hearts happy, instead of competition and lack and fear and all the things that hold us back from being our truest, happiest self? What if we gave ourselves and each other permission to do all that, to have courage, to feel safe in expressing our feelings, to go where our hearts guide us, to learn how to be kind not just to others, but to ourselves as well? What if we encouraged each other to be courageous and vulnerable? Let us support each other to create regret-free lives. Let us be courageous together.
Wow, there's just so much in what Bronnie shared with us just then. I mean, you know, you could go over that several times. I really recommend her book, actually. It's brilliant. I mean, you can get sort of summaries of the points, the 5 regrets, by just Googling that on the internet. But it's well worth reading the book. And I think that, as I say, it's that, I suppose, an ambition that I have and that I guess we all do, to try to get to that point. I remember talking, oh gosh, just crashed there. There we go. I remember talking to a man just a couple of days before he was traveling to Switzerland to voluntarily lay down his life, and talking to him about how he felt about his life. And I think what really made a massive impression upon me was that he was going by choice to end a life that was a life of massive pain and suffering for decades. And now in his mid-70s, he decided he'd had enough. And so he went to Dignitas, he booked in, and his son wanted me to meet with him and to talk with him. And what really impressed me was how positively he felt about his life, and that he certainly was doing this with no regrets. And in fact, a few days later, his son texted me from Switzerland and said, my dad passed away half an hour ago with a son on either side holding his hand, and he passed away with a smile on his face. And he said how much his time with me had meant to him. So it's a pretty amazing thing, isn't it, to be able to negotiate our way through regrets. Here are the ones that she highlights in her book. I'll just give you a few moments to look at them and think about them. I think it's the fifth one that really hits me hard, you know. I find that very moving, that they wished that they'd allowed themselves to be happier. And Bronnie spoke in the film about what if we concentrated on things, the things that make our heart sing, she said, which I thought was a lovely expression. What are the things that make your heart sing? Life can't be all that, of course. We have duties and responsibilities. We, sometimes have to get up very early to do a pause for thought on the radio, as I did this morning, when really all I wanted to do was just lie in bed. I mean, life's like that, isn't it? There are things that we just have to do, but I think we do so often neglect. And I think what's so powerful about this is that word allow, as if there's a feeling that sometimes we don't deserve to be able to be happy. In his Blessing for Death, John O'Donoghue, you know, in his book Benedictus, with a book of blessings, he's got a blessing for death. And in that blessing, he encourages us to contemplate death. But he says, then gather yourself and decide carefully how you can now live the life you would love to look back on from your deathbed. So I've just converted these really into some notes to self, which I'll show you in just a moment. May Sarton is, she was a poet and a writer and academic. She was someone who found that she was attracted to women rather than men at a time when that wasn't really something that was acceptable, and certainly not in the world of academia that she was in. And because she was open about that, she paid quite a price for it. And she wrote so many poems, but also a whole series of memoirs or diaries of her life that she wrote at each decade. And I think this piece here comes from the one when she was 70. And it's quite a long piece that I didn't want to include the whole bit, but it's a lovely piece in which she says, "Now I have become myself. Now I've become myself. It's taken time, many years and places. I have been dissolved and shaken, worn other people's faces. But now," she says, "now, to stand still, to be here, feel my own weight and density, be present." I suspect that most of us can identify with these words to some extent. In fact, I'd be surprised if it wasn't true of all of us, some more than others. Maybe you feel that you still haven't really found that place of becoming who you are, that you still find yourself wearing faces that people expect you to wear. Sometimes I think that it's so-called Christian values or things that we've been taught are Christian values that inhibit us and stop us building a life that we'd love to look back on, or a life that we'd like to look forward to. You know, the Christian community brings its own great burden of expectations. And I think there are many people, I know there are many people I've talked to over the years who feel that when they come into the realm of the church community, that's when they put different faces on, when they can't entirely be themselves, which is obviously so sad.
Mom? How much is my life worth?
Well, that's a big question. Hold that thought. Take this stone and find out how much it's worth. And when you're done, return home. I'll answer that special question for you.
Mom!
TJ, what did you discover?
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me how much this is worth?
I don't know, little man. I'll give you a banana for it.
Excuse me, sir. How much would the museum pay for this stone?
I love your enthusiasm, kid, but we don't need one of these in our collection now. Thank you, though.
This gem you have here is the most perfect gem I've ever seen. I can't imagine its value. To me, it appears priceless.
How much is it actually worth? And what does it have to do with the value of my life?
People will value you based on their point of view, their level of information, and their belief in you. But that doesn't change the fact that you are priceless. Remember, surround yourself with people who value you, just like the jeweler valued that gem, with love, care, and affection. because, baby, you are truly priceless.
So that's what I call a parable. Because it's so true, isn't it? How do other people value us, and how much does that reflect on us and the way we see ourselves and the way we value ourselves? Back to John O'Donoghue in his book, Anam Cara. It's not Adam, by the way, it's Anam Cara. He says this, he says, if you allow yourself to be the person that you are, then everything will come into rhythm. If you live the life you love, you will receive shelter and blessings. Sometimes the great famine of blessing in and around us derives from the fact that we're not living the life we love. Rather, we're living the life that is expected of us. We've fallen out of rhythm with the secret signature and light of our own nature. Take a moment with that. I've been thinking about life, our lives, as being like a collage, this patchwork quilt of different parts. Maybe another metaphor to say something similar is the image of a tapestry. You know, seeing our lives as this great weaving together of many threads, which, if you've looked at the back of a tapestry, you'll know that the back side of it, as it were, looks pretty chaotic, with little bits of thread hanging off all over the place and no clear image. But then on the front, you've got this beautiful picture. And it strikes me that most of the time we live with the backside of our lives, if you like, that's what we're aware of. We're aware of the chaos, of the threads that are hanging off, of the lack of any satisfying picture. That's what day-to-day life, mundane existence can feel like. So all we're aware of is the chaos. And I think that, you know, part of what it means to open our lives to the spirit of life, to God's spirit, is to begin to catch glimpses of that beautiful image that is being woven into our life, which maybe other people can see quite clearly, but we find it really difficult to perceive. This is a beautiful poem called Tapestry of Life by a woman called Juliet Faye, and it's filmed in Yorkshire countryside that Pat and I love a great deal. And I'd like you just to listen carefully to the words that she's saying, and maybe, you know, pick out any line or phrase that really hits you. Maybe when we come back together, I'll ask if you can remember any of them that really struck you, because I think it's got some very helpful, wise lines in this little piece.
The tapestry of life. Rest, my dear, for the world does not need you to entice the grass to grow, nor push the clouds across the sky, roll up the night to reveal the day. Rest, my dear, and feel the pulse of life deep within the earth and through the heavens. Hear the song of the universe. Rest, my dear, for in this tapestry of life, 100,000 million moments, with no end and no beginning, loosely embroider our experience. Worry not whether you can weave, for that is taken care of. Life rises and falls as dusk follows dawn. Yours is simply to learn to see the threads of gold infusing every breath of life. Know every stone holds stories to be told, and every road enfolds the secrets of journeys taken long ago and those yet to come. Hillsides keep vigil over shallow graves of fallen stock and battle-weary souls. Rest, my dear, and let your earthly chains fall away. Feel the wings you were born with, lift your spirits and soar above this ancient, timeless land.
And here's a prayer. No regrets, God. I harbour no regrets. Oh, I haven't lived a perfect life. There are plenty of things I'd probably do differently if I were there again, but no regrets. Not the kind that eat away at the soul, at any rate, which cripple my best efforts, which cause me to dislike myself, to feel less of the person I long to be. Let me live in a state of grace, which is always in the present, never in the past or future, but now. To err is human. To know that I've erred presents the splendid opportunity for better choices. And I want to make better choices, yet without the toxic cloud of regret overhead. Let me live in a state of grace, which is always in the present, never in the past or future, but now. Carpe diem. May I learn to seize the day. May I dare to do the things that make my heart sing. May I stand still, be here, feel my own weight and density without regret. Amen. So in a couple of moments, we're going to turn our cameras back on and share a toast. But you know how much I love the music of Michael Franti, the Californian singer and rapper. And in his most recent album, there's this, I think, truly inspiring song called Brighter Day, which for me kind of pulls together what I've been trying to get across in our time together. So I hope you enjoy this.
There's a great battle taking place in the world today between cynicism and optimism. How do we hold on to our humanity in a world that is constantly trying to strip it away from us. I made this album as a personal journey. I wanted to discover how best to hold on to what I hoped in my heart would be true, that goodness can still win out, and that there's goodness in all of us. It's the little things that remind us of this. To laugh hard, to cry when you need to dance wildly, to fight for what you believe in, to love with your whole heart, to fail often, and to get back up again. None of us are born perfect. That's the one thing that unites us all. So be your unique self. And remember that the best way to stay human is to be able to see the human in others. Stay human. Love, Michael.
Don't give up when your heart is weary. Don't give up when your eyes are teary. Don't give up when your voice is trembling. When your life needs mending. Don't give up when the hurt is near you. Don't give up when the world seems to be broken. I'm still hoping with my heart open. For a brighter day. Don't give up when your pride is bruised, and don't give up when you feel you're losing. Don't give up in your darkest hour, 'cause you got that power. Don't give up when you feel divided. Don't give up, I'll be by your side unbroken. I'm still hoping with my heart open, for a brighter day. And if you stay with me, I will stay with you for a brighter day. Just keep on fighting. Don't give up, you just keep on fighting. Don't give up, you just keep on fighting. Even when your eyes are crying. Don't give up, you just keep on fighting. Don't give up, you just keep on fighting. Even when your eyes are crying. Yeah, for a brighter day. Fighting for a brighter day.
Okay, well, I'd like you to turn your